Hello, my name is Tim Steele, and welcome back to my channel. My channel is called A Spiritual Conversation. So let's have one on today's topic. Just gotta shrink my picture a little bit so see what the topic is. The topic is the Prophet Hosea, Part 2. And my subtitle will be Israel to Weep the Whirlwind. Let's get into it. It's my picture a little bit here. Now, in Part 2 of Hosea, we're going to cover 5 chapters, chapter 4 through 8. In chapter 4, the Lord is going to bring a charge against Israel. Chapter 5, he's going to bring judgment against Israel. In chapter 6 and 7, Israel is going to be unrepentant, even though Hosea is going to beg them to return to the Lord. And in the final chapter of part 2, going to be chapter 8, the Lord is going to give the northern kingdom a prophetic view of their future, what's on the horizon. And now, as we get into part 3, uh, uh, this view, this image that the Lord is going to give them is going to be even more profound. Let's go ahead and get into the first chapter we're going to cover. It is 4. Chapter 4, the charge against Israel. Now, when you're reading chapter 4, you're going to notice there's a lot of chaos going on in this place at this time. Now, what's this is going to lead up to is that they're going to go off into captivity. But you're going to see how dysfunctional stuff, things are going to be in the Northern Kingdom due to the sin that they are participating in. And one of the main sins is going to be the idolatry. All right, let's go and look at chapter 4, verse 1. Hear the word of the Lord, you Israelites, because the Lord has a charge to bring against you who live in the land. There's no faithfulness, no love, no acknowledgement of God in the land. Second verse, there's only cursing, lying, murdering, stealing, and adultery. They break all bounds, and bloodshed follows bloodshed. Let's move on down to verse 7 and 9, 7 through 9. And this is listen to this because this is like first time I heard this, it's like sort of shocked me. That this was going on in the land. 7, the more priests there were, the more they sinned against me. They exchanged their glorious God for something disgraceful. They they feed on the sins of the people and relish their wickedness. Now we're talking about priests here. This is what they do. Okay, feeding on the sin. These are supposed to be the people that's like an intermediate between God and the people. But these people are feeding on the sins of the people and relish in their wickedness. And this is how far off that they had gotten themselves. Okay. Number 9. And it will be like, okay, and it will be like people like priests. I will punish both of them for their ways and repay them for their deeds. Now, chapter 5, God's judgment against Israel. In 5:1, the Lord says, hear this, you priests. Pay attention, you Israelites. Listen, royal house. This judgment is against you. This have been you've been a snare at Mizpah and a net spread over Tamar. Now, these two places, Mizpah and Tamar, are places in Israel. And Tamar, let me talk a little bit about it. It's called Mount Tamar. It's a place that played a significant role in Israel's military history because of the strategic location of it. And when they talk about a net being spread over, let's say, a place like Tamar, the imaginary net it indicates entrapment. Okay, this what it does is it implies, it's a metaphor, but it implies that the leadership is responsible for this. And you can see later on in the book that they are. The leadership is responsible for the wickedness that the people are into. One thing is like when you have a leadership like with a king, uh, it's not like it's an elective office. Like you got free speech and stuff like that. Whatever king is telling you to do, you follow the king's lead, and that's what is going on here. All right, let's look at 5 verses 2 through 4. The rebels are knee deep in the slaughter. I will discipline all of them. I know all about Ephraim. I'm going to talk about Ephraim in a minute. Israel is not hidden from me. Now, Ephraim was one of Joseph's sons. He had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. And when they was apportioning out the land for the 12 tribes, Joseph didn't get any land, but he got what he got is what he got is a double portion. Okay, and what they did, they took the double portion and give it to his two sons. And so these people called Ephraim is descendants of Joseph's son Ephraim. Now, one thing about Ephraim is like he was very well respected in the northern kingdom, and he was one of the first tribes to go heavy into the idolatry and falling, let's say, the idols of their neighbors. And because he was so well respected, because of Ephraim carried on like that, a lot of the other tribes followed him into what he was doing. Let's go ahead and finish 2 through 4. Ephraim, you have now turned to prostitution. Now, prostitution is in this sense is talking about worshiping these idols, these false gods. Now, sometimes in this book, when you talk about prostitution, it's actual prostitution. But usually when they're talking about a whole people group, it is the idol worshiping. If they're talking about an individual, it could be idol worshiping also, or it could be actual prostitution. Israel is corrupt. Their deeds do not permit them to return to their God. And that's deep, folks, because can you think of that? That you're into something that's so out there, so grotesque, so wicked, that you can't return to God. Now, of course, you can return to God, but you don't want to, okay? And if I can give you an example of something you may see in present day. Let's say you are a comedian and all of your jokes is like edgy and I don't want to say, I take the word edgy back. All your jokes are filthy, okay? But you've made millions doing this, okay? So you feel like you can't stop doing that. God don't want you doing that, but you can't stop doing it because you're looking at how much money this thing's bringing in for you. And I don't like to always like be on the rappers, but they allow me to do this. I look at a lot of rappers, the stuff that they rap about. They're making money doing that. They feel that they can't return to God because they'll lose all this money. So they're thinking about only the earthly things. They're not thinking about the life after death or what happened after you die. That's just so far from their mind because they're living for the present. So this is similar to what's going on here. They feel like they're prospering from let's say like worshiping the Baals, Moloch, and these other idols. Okay, and they're prospering, and especially the leadership from doing the wicked things that they're doing. Now, who's not prospering? The poor, the people that don't have influence. This is what Amos was talking about. Okay. Now, Hosea talks more about the idol worshiping, and Amos was talking more about how they were mistreating the poor. But the mistreating of the poor is still going on here. Okay. And during Amos' time, the idol worshiping was still going on. But these two prophets just had two different assignments. Okay. Now, their deeds will not permit them return to their God. A spirit of prostitution is in their heart. They do not acknowledge the Lord. Let's move on down to 5 verses 13 through 15. When Ephraim saw sickness and Judah is sores, Ephraim turned to Assyria, and sent to the great king for help. But he will not be able to cure you and not be able to heal your sores. Now, what's going on here is these sores and the sicknesses, God is providing that because they're not behaving right. And he's doing things to them to get their attention. But instead of turning to God or turning back to God, they are going to the neighbors. Now, Syria's the big guy in the neighborhood, so they trying to have treaties and form allegiance with Assyria, um, you know, to get some relief from what God is doing to them instead of turning to God. And the Lord say, I will be like a lion to Ephraim, a great lion to Judah. I will tear them to pieces and go away. I will carry them off, and no one with no one to rescue them. Then I will return to my lair until they have borne their guilt and seek my face. In their misery, they will earnestly seek me. Okay. Chapter 6. In chapter 6, Israel is going to be unrepentant, even though Hosea is going to plead with them to return to the Lord. Hosea 6:1. Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn us to pieces, but he will heal us. He has injured us, but he will bind us up our wounds. 6:2 verses of 6:2 and 3. After 2 days, he will revive us. On the third day, he will restore us, that we will live in his presence. Let us acknowledge the Lord. Let us press on and acknowledge him. As surely as the sun rises, he will appear. He will come to us like the winter rains, like the spring rains that waters the earth. Move on down to 8 and 9, verse 8 and 9. Gilead, the city of evildoers, stained with the footprints of blood. As marauders lie in ambush for their victims, so do priests. Now, this is that's amazing here. Okay, we know what marauders are. You know, they out there just roaming around looking for people to take advantage of. The priest is doing the same thing. Again, these are the people supposed to be like uh, the people that's represents God and among the people. They're the intermediate between God and the people. But look what they're doing. They're out there doing the same thing the marauders doing. They are robbing, stealing, and killing. Okay, so let's go on to the next verse. They murder on the road to Shechem, carry out the wicked schemes. They're talking about priests. Okay, so the priests are they murdering people. This place is completely just off the chain. Okay, and they're about to be dispersed. They're about to be sent off into captivity. Now, in chapter 7, it's more of a continuation of chapter 6. Still, the unrepentant spirit is there. And let's get into some of this chapter. In Hosea 7, 1 and 2, it goes like this. Whenever I heal Israel, the sins of Ephraim is exposed. The crimes of Samaria is revealed. They practice deceit. They break into houses. They rob in the streets, but they do not realize. I remember their evil deeds. Their sins engulf them. They are always before me. Now, the thing is about healing Israel, and Ephraim is exposed, and the sins of Samaria is exposed also. It's like when God take the heavy hand off of them, stop, let's say, the disciplining and the punishment and stuff like that, and give them a break. They go back to the same thing. You know, we can see, you know, it's not like they stop trying to do what they're doing. They just you can see it in plain view where their heart is and what they're doing, the wickedness. Okay. Crimes of Samaria revealed. Okay, you can see it. Okay. And I take to say that to believe that this phrase means that they just simply go back to what they were doing, for the whole world to see. They're not trying to change, and they're not even trying to cover it up. It's like this is who we are. All right. Now, chapter 8, Israel to reap the whirlwind. Now, the whirlwind is like a twister or something coming through and destroying everything. This is what's going to happen to them. All right, let's go ahead and look at this one. Start with Hosea 8, 1 through 3. Put the trumpet to your lips. An eagle is over the house of the Lord, because the people has broken my covenant and rebelled against my law. Now, when we were doing Amos, there is let's see, in a verse they were talking about does someone blow a trumpet if there's not like trouble on the horizon? Okay. And the answer was no. So when they blow a trumpet, there's trouble coming. That's why they blow a trumpet, to warn the people. So that's what this trumpet means. Put the trumpet to the lip, because trouble is on the horizon. And that trouble is that eagle that's over the house of the Lord. Okay. 2, Israel cries out to me, "Oh God, we acknowledge you. But Israel has rejected what is good." Hosea 4, 8, 4. They set up kings without my consent. They choose princes without my approval. Now remember, when they set up a king, it's supposed to be where God will tell the prophet who's going to be the next king, and he will go there and put oil on his head and anoint him. That's the way it's supposed to take place. That happened with Saul, happened with King David and Solomon. That's the way it's supposed to be done. But they're no longer asking God about who's going to be king. They're making that choice themselves. All right, backroom deals, probably coups taking places and usurping and all kind of stuff like that. Got nothing to do with God's plans. With their silver and gold, they made idols for themselves and to their own destruction. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at 5 and 6 from chapter 8. Now we're going to talk about this calf over here in this picture. Now this calf here was made by a king called Jeroboam the first, son of Nebat. And here's his logic for having this calf. When he took over the northern kingdom, he felt that since the temple was in the southern kingdom, and like once a year, people have to go and take let's say sacrifices and like stuff like tithing and stuff, and to the kingdom in Jerusalem. Okay, and he felt that over time, if his people have to leave the northern kingdom to go to Jerusalem to worship, Jerusalem and his people's mind will have much more significance in their mind, because this is the place where you worship. And he didn't want that, so he's going to start his own religion. It's similar to what they're supposed to be worshiping, but he's going to add some other things to it. He's going to have his own temple. Okay, so his people don't have to go down to make that journey down to Jerusalem once a year. And he's going to have a calf idol that represents his God. And of course, they're going to also like bring in some other gods too from the neighbors. They're going to have Baal worship and some other idols from the neighbors. They're going to have like a cafeteria of gods. It seems like what they want is a pantheon, where they have these different gods. So this is where this idol comes from. This calf idol come from. Let's see what Hosea are going to say about this in 5 and 6. Samaria, throw out your calf idol. My anger burns against them. How long will they be incapable of purity? Now 6. This is my out of the whole book of Hosea, this is the one I like the best. Um, they are from Israel. This calf, a metal worker has made it. It is not God. Jose's getting right down to the point with this. It will be broken into pieces, that calf of Samaria. Yeah. Now, so in 8:7, it says, they sow the wind and will weep the whirlwind. The stalk has no head. It will produce no flower. Now, I don't know what they call the head of a, let's say, a grain stalk, but I know the head of a corn stalk is the cob. Okay, so just imagine a corn stalk with no cob on it. That'll be the head. Okay, what good is it? It's good for nothing. Okay, because the other part of the cone is just like a bush. So the grain is the same thing. Bartley, whatever you talk about, the head is what's important. So they said the stalk has no head. That means that it's actually useless, produce no flour. And they said, well, if it yield grain, okay, where they have a head, uh, foreigners will swallow it up. You're not going to have anything. All right, so now I'm going to stop it here. The unbroken love from a broken heart. The book of Hosea. That's pretty good right there. I like that. But I'm going to stop it here. And in Hosea 3, we're going to finish the book starting at 9 and go through 14. And one of the things you're going to see in chapter 11 is how the Lord is going to be agonizing over what he must do to Israel and Ephraim. Ephraim is part of Israel. And because he loved them. And you're going to see an emotional God who don't want to do what he's going to do, but he got to do it. Because much as he loved them, he also is a God of justice and righteousness. His throne is based upon that. It sort of reminded me of like when I was teaching school and I would have kids in the class who were just bad as all outdoors, doing all kind of little things that cause you not to be able to teach and people not to be able to learn. And you would have some parents who would come up there and say, well, that's my kid. I have to back my kid. And even though they know the kid is wrong. So that's not our God. That's not our God. Um, the main thing is that justice, what's right, what's fair. Okay. Now, and so he can be all about love and all about that at the same time, and I would just say this here, like, and I hope I'm not wrong for saying this, but I feel that justice, fairness, righteousness, will supersede. Well, no, I don't want to say that. I can't say so. Well, the thing is that his love is not going to cause him not to be righteous. It's not going to cause him to not be just. People that's probably went to hell, he still loved them. He just turned away from them. He don't stop loving them, but he's going to be, he's going to have justice done, righteousness. Okay, his throne is based on that. It's based on love too, but it's based on that also. Okay, now so I'll stop it here. Until the next time, folks. May God be with all of us and keep us from the enemy. And with that, I'll stop. Please, but I almost forget this. Please like and subscribe, folks. Help me out a little bit so I can see where I'm going in 6 months. All right, thank you.